Hola chicos y chicas, and welcome back to these review videos. What we're going to be doing in this particular video is continuing with el subjuntivo, with the subjunctive. So we've already had an introduction to the subjunctive where we talked about conjugation. We also talked about how to use el subjuntivo with will and influence, right? What we want people to do, what we need people to do. Again, I need that you do the homework. Yo necesito que hagas la tarea, right? That's kind of the way that we first started with the subjunctive. But with this particular video, we're going to be looking at emoción y expresiones impersonales, right? Which is the next part of the weirdo acronym. It's the E and the I, emotion and impersonal expressions. And we're basically going to get into what that means. Okay, so before we move on, let's look at the conjugation. Again, this is just a review of what we already know, right? Empiezas con la forma yo del verbo, right? We take the yo form of the present tense of a given verb, quitamos la o, we take off the o, y añadimos la terminación opuesta, right? We add the opposite endings, right? So we know that an AR verb, right, is going to be a, es, a, hemos, es, en. Then ER, IR verbs are going to be a, as, a, amos, ais, an. So if we look at, let's take a look at caminar would be camine, camines, camine, right? Again, this is review. Remember that a verb like poner, which has a yo-go irregular form in the present tense, is going to go to ponga, pongas, right? We know that jugar, right, is going to go to juegue, juegues, and then it boot verbs after we go to juegue, it goes to juguemos, right? So keep these forms in mind. They're really important as we go on. So again, this is the conjugación. We already know it, and we should know it. Okay, we know that there are irregulars. Good way to remember these is the acronym SIDES. Okay, so we have ser, ir, dar, estar, y saber. Con ser, sea, seas, sea, right? Ir, vaya, vayas, vaya, vayamos, etc. Dar, de. Make sure to remember these accents here, okay? Desde, demos, desden. Estar, este. Again, more accents, okay? Keep in mind. Then sepa, sepa, sepa with saber, right? Etc. Okay? Then with the use of the subjunctive, we know that we really need three things in nearly every case of the subjunctive. There are some where this doesn't apply, but we haven't really gotten there yet. So you always need two subjects, okay? Dos sujetos, right? So if I said, I want to study Spanish, there's only one subject there, I, right? So it wouldn't be yo quiero que yo estudie, it would just be yo quiero estudiar, right? So we need those two subjects. We need que. Que is what connects these two clauses, and then weirdo, okay, which basically implies will and influence, emotion, impersonal expression, request, denial, ojalá, right? These are all ways that we use the subjunctive. And as we remember, subjunctive is kind of not true, not false, not real, not fake, kind of up in the air, right? Something that is possible, something that could happen, something that might happen, something that isn't necessarily happening, right? That's the idea of the subjunctive. So, now that we've gone over these as a review, let's take a look at the emotion and impersonal expression. So basically we use emotion and impersonal expressions, specifically emotion, to talk about, again, how we feel about something happening, right? So it plays into the whole idea of the subjunctive being kind of up in the air. So if I'm happy that something is happening, there's this kind of distance, right? Is the thing happening? Yes, I suppose, but it's my emotion that's kind of clouding it, I guess you could say. That's making it kind of in that dream world of the subjunctive, kind of up in the air. So these are some phrases that are really important when we're talking about emotion and using the subjunctive. So alegrarse de que, right? Which is basically to be happy that something is happening. Esperar que, this is kind of a run over from the first time we went over the subjunctive. It's to hope that. It's kind of, again, emotion. Gustar que, right? This is an easy one. Me gusta que, right? Molestar, you could say something bothers me that. Sorprender, it surprises me, it surprises her, it surprises us that. Tener miedo, to have fear that. Okay? And then temer and tener miedo are basically the same. Temer significa to fear, right? So if I say something like, I fear that we won't have enough time, right? That's perfect use of subjunctive, right? Yo temo que no vayamos a tener suficiente tiempo, okay? That's the idea, okay? So these are some expressions that are used, okay? So let's look at some examples. So if I say, I'm happy that we practice the subjunctive, I would start with, again, these three components. Me alegro, right? That's the setup clause that we have saying that I'm happy that. Me alegro. Remember, it's reflexive, so it would be te alegras, se alegra, nosotros nos alegramos. But I'm saying I'm happy that we. So me alegro, first part. Que, we always need que. Then the second subject is nosotros. So me alegro que nosotros practiquemos el subjuntivo. Again, pause here anytime you want if you want to take a look at this. Tu madre espera, right? First part. She hopes, right? First subject. Que. And then the second subject is tú. Tú leas más. A mi amigo le gusta que yo juegue. This is a typo. Should be que yo juegue a los videojuegos. Okay? Con él. Nos molesta, it bothers us, que Juan hable mucho. Okay? Que Juan hable mucho. Me sorprende que haya tarea. Okay? It surprises me that there is homework. Okay? This is the idea of the emotional kind of part of the subjunctive. It's what we use to basically give our opinions on things in the world, perhaps. We're going to get into some vocabulary in future lessons that will allow us to talk about things like the environment, right? Me molesta que haya calentamiento global, right? Or me molesta que los tigres estén en peligro de extinción, right? These are examples, right? So now that we have emotion covered, let's take a look at the impersonal expressions. These are very similar, right? Again, they're allowing us to express how we feel about certain topics, right? That these things might be happening or that they may be happening, right? So example is, es extraño que, it's strange that. Es una lástima que, it's a shame that. Again, more this kind of emotion, right? Es extraño que no tengamos el subjuntivo realmente en inglés, right? Es una lástima que, it's a shame that. Es ridículo que, es terrible que. You should know what these mean. Es triste que. Ojalá is a kind of its own animal. It means basically to hope that, or may God grant that. Es bueno que, right? It's important to remember. Es bueno que. Pretty straightforward, right? Es importante que. Es mejor que. Es necesario que. Es malo que. Es urgente que, right? So all of these, when you think about it, really circle back to this idea of the changing of subjects. We have que and we have weirdo, right? So to review, conjugation, take off the yo form, get those opposite endings, okay? From the yo form, or rather you take off the yo and you have these opposite endings, right? AR goes to ASA, ER, AS, etc. Okay? Then irregulares, sides, ser, ir, dar, estar, saber, all irregular. Then the checklist, you in the subjunctive that we're going over right now, you always need these, okay? Two subjects, que and weirdo, okay? So then the E and I part of that weirdo acronym is emoción and expresiones impersonales, right? So emotional kind of setups, alegrarse, esperar, gustar, right? They allow us to give our emotional reaction to certain things, right? Me alegro que nosotros practiquemos. Nos molesta que Juan hable mucho, right? And then we have these impersonal expressions, right? Saying that it's strange that, it's ridiculous that, it's necessary that, because even though those things that are happening, again, it's necessary that you do your homework, right? It's creating that kind of distance. Es necesario que hagas tu tarea, right? You doing it is separate from me. It's that kind of distance that puts it in the up in the air world of the subjunctive. Okay, so please rewind this or go to any part that you felt was kind of unclear, and please bring any questions that you have to class, and if there is an activity that's attached to this, please make sure that you do it. Okay, adios, hasta luego.